Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome back to the Plus 3 Podcast, episode 9. How's everyone doing today?
Great. It's very sunny
fine.
outside.
Wow.
Happy.
Happy?
We had a wedding yesterday.
Not your own, right?
We're stuffed. Yep.
Are you hungover?
No, surprisingly, no.
Yeah, that's very surprising.
Yeah,
Sunday
there's
is
a
the day
lot
to be
of
hungover.
shots taken, though, at that wedding. Very sloppy events, but great time.
Well, that's what weddings are for. Get slizzard.
Yes.
Get suckered.
Yeah, get suckered. So, Christina, want to start us off with what you've been doing this week?
Sure, yeah. Unfortunately, I only had time for one game, but it was a great game. Bioshock Infinite. It's the third game in the Bioshock series, released March 26, 2013. So it's been 6 years.
Wow, that long ago?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is the first one
crap.
I've played on PC. I played the original one on Xbox. It was developed by Irrational Games, which they've done all three of them, and published by 2K. So this game, the storyline is amazing. You start off as this gentleman called Booker DeWitt, and you're basically in an airborne city, Colombia. It's set in 1912, where you play as this gentleman called Booker, and he seems to be a disgraced agent. So in order to kind of regain his respect, he needs to do a job. So this job that he's given is to find a woman named Elizabeth, who has been confined by this flying beast named Songbird, and it's the city's founder leader. So basically, you have to go around this airborne city trying to find this girl, Elizabeth. And you are facing enemies who are basically the army or the navy from the city that the main guy is trying to stop you from getting Elizabeth. And of course, I don't want to tell you most of the storyline, but when you do reach Elizabeth, she kind of helps you out as well. So she has her own abilities that help you along the way to escape the airborne city. So at this point, you're not really an agent anymore trying to complete the job. You've obviously friended Elizabeth, and both of you are trying to regain the city's liberty back, because this new founder, I guess, is pretty much like almost like a communist. Like there's lots of propaganda. There's a lot of I don't know. You guys played it before. Like it's very
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to explain what's going on without actually spoiling the story. I totally know what position you're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I don't want to get into like the details of what ensues with Elizabeth, but essentially you're just going around trying to escape the founder and regain liberty in the city. And it's really unique because I really enjoy when you have a female character as well as in the main storyline. And her abilities are quite useful. So at any point she can give you stuff. So she can give you health, she can give you ammo, she can give you coins. And then she has her own ability, which is called tears. So pretty much they're tears in reality. So pretty much like portals. So when she opens up a tear, it can actually bring you back to a previous timeline. So say you go up to something and there's a dead guy and you have to figure out what happened, or you want to be in the world previous to that, she can open a tear and show you what happened, or you can go in there with her. I'm not going to say when you do that in the storyline, but she can also manipulate the stuff in the tears. So say when she opens up the portal, there's a turret there or ammo box or health or something, you can signal her to tear that certain area. So you'll see it in the map. It'll be like illuminated, and it helps you. So like you can have a turret when you're going against bigger enemies or huge waves of enemies, and when you need health right away, you can tell her to do it. Also throughout the world, there's lock picks. You yourself can't open safes or doors but Elizabeth does. So when I was doing some of the areas, sometimes you're not with Elizabeth. It kind of sucks. You can't open those areas. And I'm assuming they did it so when you play the main storyline, if you want 100% it, you're going to have to go back to the levels and do all that stuff. So yeah, she's very useful. So her herself has abilities. And as well, Booker does too. So these abilities are called vigors. So the only way to gain these vigors is through vending machines, which they brought that back from the previous Bioshock series. So when you go up to a vending machine, you can purchase with money new abilities. So some of these abilities are quite interesting. Like the one that I recently got is a shock ability, which is very useful against machines. And there's a lot of enemies that are machines. You have the one called the Devil's Kiss, so that's fire. Murder of Crows, which is super cool. There's one enemy where, I don't know if you remember, Evan, he flies around as a crow and then all of a sudden appears and then tries to like attack you and then flies away with crows again. So you get that ability. So you can project that on different enemies.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal too.
Yeah.
It's really violent.
Super gory. Then there's the Bucking Bronco. And that ability is, I think, the first one that you get. Allows the ground to crack like an earthquake, so you can suspend enemies in the air, which is actually very useful because then once they're suspended in the air, you can ultimately finish them off with an RPG or grenade launcher. And I don't want to go through all the abilities, but they're useful to have, and the only way to be able to use them is you have this blue bar at the bottom of your screen that's called salts. So it's kind of like a magic, I guess, to be able to do those abilities. So once you run out, you cannot use it, so you have to gain more salts. Also at the vending machines, you can buy salts. You can also buy health. You can buy weapon upgrades, so you can like change your clip 75% faster, or like damage increase on like certain weapons. So like there's tons of stuff you can spend your money on. And if you're one of those players that you need to like scavenger every corner of the whole map, you're gonna be able to purchase all these things. Because I do find it frustrating, like when I go to the machine and I see this new ability and I want it, I don't have enough money for it. So it kind of does force you to really take your time and look around. And then of course, when you defeat enemies, when you scavenge their body, you get ammo, you can get health. So like health can come through like food. So like oranges, bread, that kind of stuff. I played on medium difficulty, and I think it's the perfect way to play it. I think if you went lower, it'd just be too easy.
Unless you're me.
No, I honestly think medium difficulty is good for you too, Evan. Like I don't think I've died yet, actually, because even when you die, Elizabeth can revive you. If you're not with Elizabeth, like I accidentally fell off the map, they just bring you back to the same spot.
Yeah, hard is it's
So, like,
it's a bit challenging.
it's
That's
fine.
how I played it when I played Bioshock Infinite. It was difficult, but once you level up and stuff, it's just more challenging. You have to go behind cover, and you can't just run up to people and melee them and stuff. But,
The player that you're playing, so Booker, he has the ability to carry 2 primary weapons. And also one of his arms is kind of like a hand hook that you can skyline. So since, like I said, the city is airborne, you can zip line pretty much to different spots, and then you can like mount to wherever you want. But the thing is, it's very limited. It's not open world, it's linear. So they only want you to mount where you could, like where they place something for you. So like say like some loot or like a new area that you're supposed to go into. So you can't literally like mount on to top of a building or just random places. So like when you're doing the story missions to get out of like say that area, you'll be like skylining forever, and it just kind of makes you feel like you're on a roller coaster. I really enjoyed that.
And the skylining is really sweet.
yeah,
And
that's
it's
one
very
of the cool things.
scenic. You can see the whole world, and it aged really well. Like the visuals are amazing, and it gives you that kind of like horror-ish, like scary feeling. Like the towns, the way that they're drawn, it's all very dark. And at times it's light when it needs to be. And since it's set in 1912, you get all the classic like carny stuff, like carny games, and you can actually play some of the games. I don't know if you guys stopped and played them, but you can like shoot stuff and
yeah, at the beginning of the game there was like the little setups there. Yeah, I did this.
There is Easter eggs throughout the world. I think I encountered one of them. It was like a random sign in a room. There's lots of secrets, things for you to collect. The campaign is actually quite long. Like I'm only halfway through, and I think I've put in, I don't know, like 10 hours. It checkpoint save only, which is a little bit disappointing. Because if you've taken the time to loot a bunch of stuff and do some stuff, and then you gotta go, you start back at the checkpoint and you lose all that progress.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah.
Yes,
that would definitely...
that's why like today I was like, oh, I need to like wait till I get to a checkpoint, then I can talk to you guys.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true. I remember that was one of the things that made the campaign so long for me when I played it, was you couldn't just save on the spot or quick save or anything like that. I
don't mind it because it's more enjoyable that way. It's not like you just want to like end it. Like you want to actually complete that area and that storyline. But overall, it's really enjoyable. Every time I pick it up and play, like it felt like just yesterday I was playing it. Like it's very easy, it's very casual. It's not as scary as the first one. Like I thought the first one was scary.
Yeah, this one's a totally different feel.
Yeah, this is not a pre-sequel, like not a pre-sequel to it, not even a sequel to the previous games. It's a standalone game. So none of the characters are back from the first two. And they did a really good job with it.
There's probably stuff in there that references the other games, but you don't have to. You don't have to have played the other games to enjoy this one.
For sure not. No. And there's like different like puzzles like than the first one. Like it's hard to explain. Like they really changed it, and it's too bad they haven't come up with something else.
Well, Irrational Games is dead now. They're done. After Bioshock Infinite,
really? I looked up their lineup. Like I'd never even played their other games, like System Shock 2, SWAT 4. I've never heard of that.
Oh, Evan, you and I played SWAT 4 back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The Bioshock series was always so good. Like the atmosphere and the story. The story can get really fucking weird though.
It's always weird, but that's the fun of it. Like it looks very interesting.
You're gonna enjoy the ending of that game, Christina, for sure. It's gonna blow your mind.
Oh yeah?
I'm not going to say how exactly. There's a couple different ways that it does, but you're going to be like, whoa. It's definitely one of those storylines that you remember, and then it makes it really replayable. Like even if you were to finish it and then go right back into it and play on an easier difficulty, just to see all the stuff you would have missed, you can catch things. Like there's stuff throughout the game that references what's actually going on in the story, and you understand it way better. When you first go through it, it's nonsense, it's stupid. Like, okay, whatever, they'll probably figure out what that means later. But then after you beat it and go back, you're like, oh, that's what they meant. Oh, like you just find yourself doing that over and over again.
Yeah, I actually do see myself playing it again. Like I do want to play the first one again, and I still haven't played the second, so it's definitely good content in there. Yeah,
the second one's the only one I never played. But the first one was good, I remember that. And then Bioshock Infinite, I wish I played it on PC like what you're doing. But I played it on PS3, and Evan, you and I agreed where that just ruined.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was still fun, but it ruined
the graphics, or...
Well, the graphics were fine, but the performance was terrible.
Yeah.
It was like less than 30 frames per second the whole time you're playing, and you can't...
Oh, no.
You can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta enjoy it. Yeah, pick it up on PC. It's super cheap. I don't remember. I think I paid like $5.
Yeah, you can grab the collection for like, I don't know, probably like 20.
Yeah, or the collection.
That's right.
They have the Bioshock collection, which I got for Xbox, but I'm sure it's out for PC too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I wouldn't even, honestly, when it comes to PC, I wouldn't even consider getting the collection, because you can just buy the separate games and run them at max graphics, and then they'll play fine. But only, and also you'll be playing the game the way that it was developed. Like there's no extra remastering done or anything like that. I like that personally. I like that whole, like, you're playing the original game and...
Oh, for sure, yeah. And like on PC, you're able to play it properly.
But
get the
on console,
performance that you want.
yeah, on console definitely I'd say go for the collection.
Yes, remaster for sure.
I think the PS3 copy came with like when you buy Bioshock Infinite for PS3, it comes with Bioshock 1, I think, on the disc. I should check that out.
I think so. And I think too, was it Bioshock Infinite that came out with the expansion, and it was
Season pass.
It was like a season pass, and you played as Elizabeth, but played it. I guess she's like part of like Bioshock 1 or something. I never played it, but like there's a girl, and yeah, I don't know. I always want to try it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, John, we'll
Yes.
talk about one news thing that's interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this week there's some cool information that I found throughout the week, and one of them that I wanted to talk about. I know all three of us are really excited for it, but there's a rumor that the next State of Play, that's the new Sony, kind of like the Nintendo Direct. They do a thing called State of Play, and there's rumors that the next State of Play will confirm The Last of Us Part 2's release date.
Ooh.
So that might actually.
I'm guessing like early 2020, right?
Yeah, people are thinking like probably around like February, maybe, or even May. But either way, I'm just so excited. That's gonna be an amazing game. Naughty Dog will just probably blow everyone with the graphics and everything.
I would like to bet a couple of dollars on PS5 being ready for Christmas. Just imagine.
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
I
This
think-
Christmas?
Yeah.
Or you mean next year's Christmas? No, I don't
This one
think
or
so.
next
No.
year. There's a lot of details.
I think they're
out
going to
there
do
about
it the same year as Xbox takes out Scarlet. Because I think Scarlet's coming out 2020, right?
Holiday 2020.
Yeah, so I don't know. Who
I don't know,
knows?
Like
But-
the PS4 was made back in 2014, right?
I think so. It literally feels like it just got released like 2 years ago. It's crazy. Like honestly, I feel like we're not ready for a new console release, but I think
Well, because of the
it's
Pro,
due-
I think, eh? Yeah.
yeah, it kind of just fucked everything up. But with the State of Play, they're gonna announce, The Last of Us 2's release date. They're gonna probably talk about the more about like Death Stranding, maybe talk about the PlayStation VR 2, because they're probably gonna try to push that even harder for the new console. There's also information.
So that's in May 2020 that they're saying the State of Play? Because they're saying it's every year, like May.
supposedly. No, November 1st.
Oh,
That's
November
the next
1st,
State of Play.
okay.
Yeah, and then they're gonna talk about the that new Japanese game that they were making, Ghost of Tsushima. Probably gonna just say like how well it's doing, and then it's on par for whatever release date. I don't even think they gave a release date, but I honestly don't even think that game's gonna be out for the PS4. I think that's gonna be out for the PS5. But yeah, like I feel like Sony needs to kind of push more of those State of Plays. Like they announced that they're gonna do it, and they haven't. I think they've only done 2 so far.
It's interesting that they're branching away from E3, like completely. They weren't.
I feel like it's
E3
because
at
they
all.
they don't have enough information to fill up that hour or whatever.
I'm sure they could have, though. I think they just
Yeah.
just wanted to be out of it.
I think E3 is getting messed up now because companies, everyone's deciding to do like a half upgraded console, like somewhere between like PS4 and PS5,
Yeah.
for example. They've done a PS4 Pro, and Xbox has
Yeah.
done like what 3 different versions of the same console. Like, come on, it's kind
Yeah,
of
well,
it's
they're
messing
just
up the
they're
timeline.
just money hungry.
Oh yeah, like no
Which
one's
is
gonna wait
ridiculous.
for E3 anymore.
Yeah, and PlayStation has sold more consoles than Microsoft, so
Well,
I mean,
they've
they don't
slowed
have to worry
down on
about
they slowed down on the console buys ever since they announced the new hardware for PlayStation 5 and stuff. They've noticed a small dip in sales.
it's fine. They sold so
But,
much.
like, yeah, they're still
PS2,
probably
like, it's-
selling more. But
they're good.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about Ghost of Tsushima. That game looked really cool when they announced that. Was it 2 years ago when they were at E3? And then The Last of Us Part 2. I'm just so excited. I'm so happy that Christina, that you finally were able to just play it, and because it starts off slow, and then once the action starts, you get sucked right into that. Naughty Dog is so
and I
good at
love the
making that.
season change.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it
that's
made
cool.
me more immersed into the world because it's like spring, fall, winter. Winter was amazing.
Well, when Evan and I lived together for months, we were able to go to the did we go to the midnight release, or did we just buy it the
No.
next day?
We bought it the next day.
Yeah, but we were able to play it together, and I would come home from work and he'd be like, John, I got to this really cool spot, like you have to play. And every time I'd come home, we would just play that game for like a whole solid week. It was so good, and I just never like rushed through it. I just enjoyed the whole atmosphere and everything like that. But
My favorite part is when they're in the school and you go to this one part on the kind of like a balcony area, and you watch the animals walk by, like seeing the giraffe.
Oh, yeah.
And, like,
oh yeah,
that was my favorite moment. Like the whole like visuals and the atmosphere, it was great.
yeah, the stuff they announced
And seeing them together and safe, like it made me happy.
The thing they announced for Last of Us 2, like you can hide underneath cars, and the enemies actually have certain names. So if they're looking around, they'll call out like, "Hey Tanner, like have you found her? Have you found her yet?" "Oh no, Dan." Like they're trying to push that, like to make it more like feel more real. I'm just so excited to see. I really hope it does get announced.
It's going to be really over the top, and it's going to be insane in ways that the first game wasn't, for sure.
Yeah.
I really hope so. The first one was hands down perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little afraid. Well, not afraid, but excited and kind of overwhelmed, because the first one was so overwhelming, and it's like, it sounds like the first game, as far as the content, is like not even half of what's going to be in the new game. But still, the first one was so crazy in the way the levels were designed and the graphics and the story and everything. But really, you go back to it now, and The Last of Us is not a very complicated game, you know? Like, it's a very
well,
simple
they
system.
made like a world like that, like so like realistic, like that could actually happen.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
you could be immersed in that type of world. Like it's crazy.
I wonder if they're gonna announce maybe the multiplayer, because Evan, you and I really enjoyed the multiplayer. It was like more stealth
It was unique.
related.
No, I don't think. Why do they need to focus on multiplayer?
No, they don't have to
can't
focus
be.
on it, but
I'd be
what
okay
they
with
did
them
with
not
the-
doing one at all.
oh yeah, me too. Like if they just said it's gonna be single player only, I'd be so
If
happy
it's
with
like
that.
Uncharted, like they did a good multiplayer for the last one, and they still kept a great story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, November 1st of this year
Is
gonna
when the
be
State of Play?
Yeah, that will be the next State of Play.
I'm
unless
guessing
they-
a release date of like February, maybe March.
I'm thinking February or maybe May 2020.
Okay, so maybe they're moving stuff away from Christmas season, and they're moving stuff more towards summer.
Well, yeah, because I think they kind of want to spread out Death Stranding. So Death Stranding is still coming out November unless they delay that, but they're right now in crunch mode.
I hate that all games release pretty much from September to December. It's too much content, too much games, too much flux of like, should be spread out a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. But
That's what happens when you have shareholders deciding when games get released.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they want to make the most money, right? Like
Yeah.
Black Friday, Boxing Day.
Oh
yeah.
But Evan, what did you play this week?
So, I had a lot of free time this week and this weekend. I tried a bunch of games. I tried there's this new system I decided to implement for myself when it comes to trying new games, because I want to play more games. I find in the past I would kind of pick one and then make myself be stuck with it. But I figured out that Steam has a very good refund system. And I talked about this a little bit last podcast, but I want to mention it again.
Are you abusing it, Evan?
I'm not abusing it. I'm using it as they intended. Plus, my account has existed for over 10 years, and I've been a loyal Steam customer. And I'm using the refund system exactly as it should be, because I find myself, I can get a good sense of what a game is going to be like within the first hour of play, or much less. So every game that I've refunded so far has had well under an hour of playtime. Like I tried Hell Let Loose. I ended up refunding it. I'll mention a few other games that I was going to talk about on this podcast, but ended up refunding, so I'm not going to say too much about them. I'll still bring them up. So one of them was a game called Matter. I played that for about 15 minutes and refunded it. Yeah, so a little bit. It was a $5 something game.
Wow, you're really supporting the development team.
Yeah, well, I gave it a try, and I'm gonna give it some exposure right now. So, anyway, Matter is it's like a parkour type game that's set in like a weird sci-fi imaginary world. It's first person. All you're doing is you're jumping from platform to platform kind of thing. But the world is like, it's really abstract looking. Like there's a lot of floating pieces, and you're just kind of like in the air. The art style is really cool. It's like, imagine there's large structures, and it's like you're in a no gravity environment, and things are spinning around you, and the platforms are rotating, and you have to kind of look around and quickly jump from platform to platform. But when you're jumping from the different platforms, you're kind of like going upside down, going sideways and stuff. And I think the whole point of the game is to try not to get your direction confused, because there's like a certain flow to where you jump between the platforms and stuff. Your goal is to kind of jump from one, look around for the next, jump, look around for the next, etc., etc. Really simple game, but the graphics are awesome, and the level design, everything's really poppy. There's a lot of contrasting colors. Like there's like solid white platforms that indicate the ones you're supposed to jump on next. And when you jump on them, they change color to like rocky or concrete or whatever. And yeah, it looks realistic, but not, because it's like a sci-fi environment.
Is this a brand new game?
I didn't check the release date. I know it's within this year or last. But the reason I stopped playing it was because I encountered a game-breaking bug, which is unfortunate. But I was at least courteous enough in my refund note. I put that down. I told them what happened.
Yeah.
I reached a point where I was jumping between two different platforms, and then I died. Oh, sorry, there's a mechanic where if you're jumping and you're way off and you're about to die, you can right click and it'll bounce you back to your last jump. So kind of like a rewind time thing.
Kind of like Prince of Persia then.
Yeah. So it keeps the game flowing really quickly, and I'm sure it's a short game because it's only $5 or something. But sometimes it's hard to know if you're going in the right direction, because it does get a little visually confusing. Anyway, so I ended up dying, and then the place I respawned at was kind of like in between these two platforms, and I couldn't get out of it. So at that point I uninstalled, refunded. I would recommend it though. I don't think for $5, I think it's a fair deal considering the way it looks and the way it feels. That's what it's all about. It's one of those aesthetic games. Really simple.
It just like makes me think. You said $5, right?
Yeah, about that.
And that game on the Switch would probably be like 30.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a thing.
They
right?
overprice their platformers so hard, or like games that are on like Android or on iPhone that should be like $2 or like $13.99. It's like, it's a fucking Snake game on the Switch. Come on.
Oh, Snake Pass?
Like, no.
You can almost tell that someone's getting in the middle of it and jumping the price up for some reason, for someone else to make
It's
money.
Nintendo. They're like, oh, this is worth it. Like $90 for an original Switch game, worth it.
Well, supposedly too, making a game for Nintendo, because they use those small cartridges, it actually costs more to make the cartridges.
So what?
Yeah.
So what though? Come on. No, not all these platformers are physical. These are like
you're
digital
talking about
games.
digital?
Like most of the physical games are not platformers.
Yeah.
They might still keep the same price for the digital ones just because the overall price of manufacturing that game, they probably include the price of the cartridges too.
They have sales a lot on like sometimes crappier games. Like all the time they're like 75% off. But like if it's a good platformer like Messenger or Celeste and stuff, it rarely does it go on sale more than like 30%.
Yeah. And I don't think it should, because those games are more...
No, and the developers deserve it, right? Like,
right.
And playing a platformer on Switch would be amazing. So,
yeah. Yeah, so that's what I'll say about that game. I played it a little bit, refunded it. So there you go. I think I recommend it for anybody who's into chill, casual games and just wants to play like an hour or two of a game. It's really visually interesting, very artistic.
For some reason, I was thinking of Mirror's Edge when you were talking about it.
It's not quite.
No.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
I've been trying to think of a game to.
Well, Mirror's Edge is third person, isn't it?
No,
It's
it's first
first.
person.
Oh, it is first person. Okay.
It is like a very basic version of parkour. It's just jumping from platform to platform. There's no
Yeah.
wall running or anything. Yeah. So that was Matter. Another game I ended up trying and refunding immediately just because of lack of interest was a game called Gris. So the French version for French word of gray. Gris.
Oh, I've heard of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a really unique game. It's one of those games that's like kind of abstract and it's focused more on the art, and it doesn't tell you much. There's a lot of like, it directs you visually what to do. The whole game is like hand drawn, a certain style of illustration. I don't know what you would call it exactly, but it's almost like watercolor pastel-y. And the game, it wants you to intuit how to play it. Like, it doesn't tell you the controls or anything when you're playing it. It just kind of drops you after a cinematic. It drops you into the world, and then nothing is happening, and you're like, oh, do I move or whatever? And then sure enough, you hit the stick on the controller and you're moving. And it's kind of like Journey, the way that the beginning was set up, because I only played it for like 10 minutes. But
Yeah.
it doesn't, like, Journey doesn't tell you how to play so much, right? You're just kind of thrown into this huge open world, and then you're like, okay, I guess I'll just keep going forward and see what happens. It's very much a game like that. Then you kind of, you're just visually looking at what's going on around you. You see, you touch a thing and then it reacts to another part of the level and it shows you, like, oh, okay, so maybe if I do this, that happens, or blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was one of those games, but it was a little too deep, I guess. Like it was too emotionally involved, and I wasn't in the mood for that at the time. So I wanted something like hack and slashy and jump, 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 whatever. I just uninstalled it, refunded it. But I would recommend it for anybody who's a fan of Journey or any game where it's atmospheric and designed just for the beauty of it. It's definitely, it felt like a good quality game when I was playing it. They put a lot of effort into animating everything and the level design and all that.
Evan, a game that I think you would enjoy. It's super simple. Have you ever heard of the game called Cluster Truck?
I heard of the name, but I don't know what it is.
It's literally so simple. You just start jumping on trucks, like on different trucks, and like things.
Oh yeah, it's the first person one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. It's kind of like a parkour, but okay.
You should give that game a try because I think you would like it.
Should I'm really since you've been playing these pixel games, John, it got me thinking. I was like, oh, I should try a couple of them because a lot of them happen to be platformers.
Yeah.
And in doing that, over the past week, I figured out that I really love platforming games. And I used to love them when I was younger, but now I'm really getting back into them. So
yeah, they're so simple. It's just super fun. Like you played 19.8x.
Yeah.
And
loving that game. Still trying to get through it. I made it to the third game. Or the
it's such a good game. I just wish it was longer, way longer.
But at least you can go back and I think you can play the games, right? Just keep going until they're done or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1980X was one of the games I've been playing after John talked about it, but I won't get into that because John already did. Yeah, so aside from Matter and Gris, games I actually put time into and didn't refund. First of all, Mega Man 11, I just want to report that after 21 hours, I finally beat the Blockman stage. And I only ever beat the boss one time. I don't know how I did it. I'm afraid to go back and try again because I might just put myself into a cycle of frustration for another couple hours. But yeah,
so proud of you, Evan.
I beat one level of Mega Man 11 finally. But the grind it's a lot of fun because it's a short level, right? Yeah. All the levels in Mega Man are very short. Like I think there's maybe 7 different areas in each level, maybe most. But it's the end. The end is always in sight. So dying is not a big deal. You just kind of go back and restart. Okay, you get a little bit closer each time, and the reward is much quicker. And you can feel yourself learning the levels, and you can feel yourself learning what to do and memorizing everything.
That's the whole point of that type of game, though, because then you eventually find out where those enemies are gonna pop up. You can like dodge, you can shoot them, whatever. But yeah, I'm happy that you finally beat your first Mega Man.
Yeah, man, it was a long shot. I don't know how often I'll be able to do that kind of thing because
Mega Man's hard. Did you play the originals?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the originals are very hard. The only reason I was able to get through this one was because there's like extra mechanics that help you.
Oh yeah, like that time
the
shift thing.
The time gear that slows down time and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
The old games didn't have that. And I got 2 more. And then I'll be done with these week's games, yeah.
Oh my goodness, Evan, you played
so
many
did so much
games.
progress this week.
Yeah, I did. So a lot of it was this weekend, actually. But I'm playing platformer games, so you can get through them quite quickly, I find.
Yeah, quick. You can play them and then refund them really quick.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually didn't know you could do that until you told me that.
Yeah, you can.
But I would say be careful with it because you won't necessarily get the refund right away. It goes through a process. So if you're if you really need the money kind of thing, don't do it for that reason. Because there's refunds that have been processed. Like Steam was like, okay, we're gonna refund you too, but it hasn't shown up on my credit card yet because I have it set to I buy my games on my credit card and then the refund makes it go back on the credit card. So I'm still waiting for some charges to go through.
Well, I feel like if I'm gonna buy a game, I should be sticking to it, right? You're supporting the developer and stuff. But like, it's also like I know for sure I'll like that game. And with platformers, you don't really know if you like it or not.
Just don't abuse the refund policy.
Yeah, just don't abuse it.
Don't abuse it, Evan.
Yeah.
Don't abuse it.
To me, I think abusing it would be beating the whole game and then refunding it. But the system for refunding is really good. It's like it figures out like based on the type of game it is, and I think it figures out the average play time. This is just speculation, I'm guessing, but it takes the average play time of like all the players who have it, and then it does like an average, and it says like, okay, so we found out that it takes players, X amount of hours to beat the game. If somebody has put in close to that time and then wants a refund, we're gonna say, okay, probably not, because that means they basically just rented the game from us and they're gonna return it.
Yeah.
So that's how you would abuse it, but I have a feeling the system is good for that because in my case, I'm putting in less than an hour each time of a game. Each time. And then they're like, okay, yeah, there's no problem. Dude played it for like 10 minutes. Obviously, we're going to give him his money back.
Obviously, they're so pissed right now at Steam. Like, Steam's probably going to be like, fuck, man, this guy is just refunding games. Fucking
and
bitch.
He told everyone on his own podcast, yeah, definitely, like, ban right now.
Hey, I'm just teaching people how to smart shop, Teaching them what they should be aware of.
Do you ever think about if Steam would ever do like a renting service?
Well, don't they have... Well, subscription services are basically that. You never really own the games, right?
There's enough digital subscription services. I think they're okay.
Yeah, Steam is the one that doesn't have to do that. They're like the in store.
They're okay. Unless Epic steps up their game, which they have been, by the way, people. Free games. Go on the Epic store.
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Support your additional PC digital buying station.
Back to the game
Only
I was going to talk about.
Gears 5's coming out.
Gears 5. I'm sure we'll hear plenty about that when it comes out. So, my 2 games here.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So this one's a small one, so I don't have much to say about it. It's called the One Screen Platformer. This one came out in March this year. So it's a really short game. It's less than $2. It's just a platforming game. It's one big level though. That the whole game takes place in just this one stage, and there's a mechanic in the game that lets you you can either zoom in on your player and follow them and through the level and stuff, or you can zoom out and just see the whole level, and then you can see your player where he is, like just kind of floating around the level. Yeah, it's quite short. I was able to beat it. You can choose from 4 different characters, and depending on the one you choose, it changes some element of the gameplay. So like for example, there's one character that you could do a double jump with, and there's another character where the whole level is dark, and you have to like you can only uncover the level, like there's like a fog in the way. You uncover what's in the level by actually just going to the places and stuff. So for example, your goal for that dude would be like you only actually beat the level whenever it's 100% of the fog is gone. I didn't try the third character because after a while I discovered that the level doesn't change really much in any way, but you're just taking those 4 characters with each one with a one unique mechanic, and you're just going through the same level. So I was like, okay, whatever. I got the gist of it after playing 2 characters. What else here? So there's no weapons or anything. It's literally just running and jumping, and you're avoiding obstacles. And there's checkpoints throughout the game. I think there's like 13 checkpoints in the level. It's not super big. It's hard to describe without like having a picture in front of me or anything. But it took me the first time through. It took me about 8 minutes to beat the level.
You mean like just beat the game?
The game, yeah. Well, essentially, yeah. I beat the game with 1 character.
Yeah. Huh.
But if you want to do it with all characters, it might take around an hour, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a pixel graphics 2D game.
Hell yeah.
Just like all the other games I've been playing, by the way. And yeah, the graphics are decent. And there's a soundtrack that's alright, I guess.
It's like 8-bit music or
not quite.
like chiptune? No?
It's not chiptune, but it's like synth whatever.
Oh, okay, like synthwave?
Not really. It's not like vintage sounding. It's just pretty regular EDM music, I guess. Nothing special about it.
Okay.
Super regular. But I'd say for the price, less than $2 if you want to sink an hour or whatever into a game, platformer game, and just feel good about it, beating it.
Yeah.
I think it's worth the money.
Yeah.
That's called One Screen Platformer. Find it on Steam. And a game I put a couple hours into today, which I'm very pleased with, is called Never Give Up. This one was released...
Never give up.
Yeah, it was released last week, so on August 13th. It's kind of like Super Meat Boy. This one is also like One Screen Platformer. There's no weapons. It's a jumper platformer.
Yeah. What's the storyline like? Animated, like cheerful characters, or
the storyline is kind of silly. Yeah, like you play a dude. I think your name is Blue, and you just like it's meant to be funny. You wake up in your room. There's a cinematic where you wake up and then suddenly something explodes outside the door, and then your whole room is on fire, and you're like, not again. And then you're in a dream, I guess. I didn't catch the story too much because it's a bit obnoxious.
So the world's like imaginary?
Yeah, you're in a dream basically, and then your dream is just like your subconscious trying to kill you.
Is there clouds as like step platforms?
No, it's everything so far has taken place inside of like weird industrial factory buildings.
Oh, okay.
So like
you're immersed in the dream. Okay.
Yeah, you're playing inside of your own dream or whatever. So it's kind of like Super Meat Boy as far as the gameplay goes. There's like buzzsaws all around the levels and stuff, and you're just avoiding crazy obstacles, super tight spaces, so you gotta bounce off walls and like measure your jumps perfectly and all that. There's timing elements to it too. But the main element of this game is that it tries to encourage you to give up. So there's a mechanic where after so many times you die, it unlocks the ability for you to hold the triggers for a certain amount of time, and then you can give up on the level. And I'm not sure what that does exactly. I think it stops you from being able to try it again. I don't know what exactly the purpose of it is. Maybe it's more a psychological thing.
Yeah.
So you have that ability to give up, but I haven't been. There's like 9 regions, and each region has like 5 or 6 levels or whatever. I'm currently still in the first region, and I just beat the 3rd level, so I still have quite a bit to go in the game. The main mechanic of the game, though, is you go through a level and you beat it, but then the level gets rebuilt, and then it's more complicated the next time it's rebuilt. And so each time you succeed that level, the level restarts and comes back with more difficult obstacles. And so each level will do that probably 5 or 6 times. Yeah, so like for example, in the first level, it starts off super simple where you're just jumping across a gap, and then you go into the exit door. Then it says, okay, rebuilding, and then you have to jump across a gap and avoid a laser gun, etc. And then the next time it rebuilds, it's like, oh, now there's buzzsaws and a laser gun, and you have to jump across everything. Then just does stuff like that. But the first 2 levels were okay. I didn't die too many times. Like the game is designed for you to die many times.
Yeah.
The first level I died, I think, less than 50 times going through all the stages of that level. So like all five stages. I only really ran into a problem playing the third level, which I just finished today. It took me 36 minutes to beat this third level, all the stages. There's 5 stages, and I died over 300 times. But I was like memorizing a routine as I was playing it, kind of thing, because your jumps have to be perfectly timed, like where you run and stuff, and your movements have to be exact and like rehearsed like a dance. So I actually, at one point I was like, oh, you know what I should do? I should record this. So I turned on my GeForce Experience thing and I started recording a video. And luckily, like I think the second time I tried recording a video, I actually got past the part I was stuck on. And so I have a video of me going through the whole level and beating the first half in my rehearsed way, and then going through the new second half and actually beating that within like 2 minutes or something like that. But you can see after like it rolls it's like, oh, congrats, you beat the level kind of thing. It says that I died over 300 times and I have over 36 minutes in this one level. Yeah,
I was gonna ask if they tell you at the end how many times you died and stuff.
Yeah, and so it actually keeps track in the game. It shows you too. Oh,
that's cool. Yeah, you should post that video on the YouTube channel for everyone to see. Yeah,
I think I will, just as a little gameplay feature. But and aside from, so there's 3 main goals per level too when you beat them, when you go through all the 5 stages. Each stage has a little secret item you have to get to, and that's one of the goals. Aside from that, there's a time goal that it gives you, like beat all 5 stages in less than 4.5 minutes, which is what it asked me for that the one I took 36 minutes on. Yeah. So then you get a check mark for that, and you get a check mark for the secret item if you found it, and then there's one for beating the level.
So you're saying that this game is like Super Meat Boy. You should, I don't know, you've played Super Meat Boy or no?
I've only toyed with it for a few minutes.
Yeah, so this game really sounds like Super Meat Boy and another game called The End Is Nigh. And if you really enjoy this game, you should check out both of those.
Okay, Super Meat Boy I definitely will check out, because
literally the End Is Nigh is like almost identical to Super Meat Boy, but just different story, and it's like different. It's like the same type of gameplay. It's really cool.
Yeah, cool. It's my favorite kind is like obstacle course type games. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, definitely check out The End Is Nigh and Super Meat Boy.
And one last thing I'll mention about the game. I guess it's kind of cool, but meh. It's your main character is voiced by Ego Raptor. So I don't know if anyone knows who he is anymore. He was
Metal Gear.
He was relevant at one point. Yeah, he's the guy who made the Flash Awesome series. So Metal Gear Awesome, Poke Awesome, The Legend of Awesome, blah blah blah. And he also does the Game Grumps podcast. Yeah, so that guy voices the main character, and he says quirky stuff, like every time you die or whatever. But honestly, I got tired of it after like 10 minutes, and I just turned the voice off because it got gimmicky after a while, and he says really cheesy stuff. So yeah, those are my games. That's all I have to say for this week.
I'm really happy for you, Evan, that you played more than one game.
Yeah, I definitely played more than one game. That's for sure.
Yeah, by the looks of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
John, you have more news for us, right?
I do. This is kind of news that's you could take it different ways, but it's kind of upsetting, but also really cool at the same time. But id Software's former studio director Tim Willits has now joined World War Z developer Saber Interactive.
Yeah. That game's way better, anyways. So.
Whoa.
World War Z is better than
it's better than Doom. Sorry,
Ooh.
Guys, I'm joking.
Wow.
No. Doom's had enough. World War Z needs to step up now.
I'm still like, I was just looking at World War when I turned on my PC the other day, and I'm like,
we haven't played
that game in so long, and like I'm down, especially with all the new updates they're releasing for that game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, supposedly a few weeks ago, Tim Willits announced plans to depart the studio. But right after QuakeCon, he finally made it official and announced that he was going to Saber Interactive, which is obviously World War Z. But yeah, all the best to him. Really excited to see what he can do with them, and it's just crazy how long he's been working at id.
It makes you wonder
24
why.
years. Yeah, I know, and especially how Doom is doing so well now, and you know, because Doom was in development hell for a while. No pun intended, but yeah, 24 years of his
It's just like new
career.
vision, new. You want to change it up, right? Like,
Yeah, of course. But he's also said that he's excited. He like from what he saw with Saber Interactive, like he sees something in them, and he's really excited to go there and start something.
yeah,
fresh.
and help a franchise out. Like World War Z, like it could turn into something really special.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, 24 years at id Software. We all wish him the best. If he's listening to this, which I don't know, but thank you for everything you've done at id Software, and good luck with Saber Interactive. Yeah,
make us proud.
So Christina, like Doom's the best, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What did you play this week that was so exciting?
Yeah, I played a new game that just came out this past week, August 13th. It got released. It's called Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. And it's a completely new game. It's the type of game that I'm not really too familiar with. But I heard a lot of good things. We were watching videos of it. And it sounded really cool. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a shot and see how it is. But it's a game that's developed and published by Double Damage Games. It's a space western simulator. So it mostly centers around dogfighting, trading, and mining. It's kind of like Wing Commander back in the day.
Or like Elite Dangerous.
So, yeah, Elite Dangerous, like Wing Commander. From what I've played, I played maybe a couple hours of it. The game is really fucking hard. And the game, I guess, is mostly made it with controller in mind. So the best way to play it is with a controller and not keyboard and mouse. And I never actually tried it with the controller. I just was like, fuck it, I'll just play it with keyboard and mouse. The dog fighting, like the whole point of the game is, so your character is trying to hunt down some rebel character, and she finds him at a bar. She shoots him in the head, but he's still alive somehow. And then she runs off, gets into her ship, and then he chases after her and was able to destroy her ship. Then you crash down on this other planet, and you end up talking to someone, one of your pals, and he gives you probably the shittiest ship that you can get in that game, which is, it looks like a dumpster. And it's like just massive, doesn't have any type of cool shit on it. It's just you just fly and you just use your lasers and missiles, but you can't like speed off. You can't do any of like the jumps, like space jumps or anything like that. So once I was playing that, I was trying to do a lot of like the dogfighting like the dogfighting set pieces, and it's just really hard. You have the people that are like behind you, and I can't seem to be able to get away from them. So I kind of got really frustrated with that. I was
Do you not have boosters?
You do have a booster, but like I don't know, like it just seemed like they were always just so like just attached right behind me. It was just able to shoot me every single time. You also don't have any flares with this with this ship, so if they shoot missiles, you're fucked. So I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna just start doing the main missions instead of doing the side missions, and try to get a new ship and get like, you know, the new abilities, like new weapons and stuff, and kind of build my ship up so I can actually kill these rebels. And that is kind of where I got kind of stuck, because all the currency that you get from all the side missions, most of them are all based off of dogfighting. There's some missions that are like you take a package and you just deliver it to another planet, and most of the side missions are all just dogfighting, and that's what they kind of want you to do in that game. That's the biggest thing about that game. It's just the dogfighting. So I was kind of annoyed that I couldn't get more weapons or a new ship or anything like that.
And there's not spacecraft like upgrades where you can add boosters or add.
Yeah, you can upgrade. So basically, the game has a hub world. So each planet you go to has a hub world, and you can fill your ship. You can repair your ship. There's the mission boards where you can get side missions. There's a bar where you can play like sides like mini games like pool, darts. Talk to the bartender, get information around there about what's happening or like the rumors that's going on. There's merchants that you can purchase stuff. It's a lot to take in at first, and like especially for me, I was just playing and I'm like, I literally have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And that's the feeling that I don't really like, and especially when I keep playing and I'm just like, I still don't know what I'm doing.
Man, that's a common thing for space games though. They're always extremely complicated. Yeah,
so I tried doing the side missions as much as I could with the like bringing the packages, but like most of them are all dogfighting, and I just kept on dying, and I was like, so I tried doing the main missions, and they were wanting me to buy a certain piece of for my ship, which I couldn't afford because it was too expensive. So I kind of just ended there, and I was really disappointed. Like I'm happy that I was able to just give it a shot and see, because it's a type of game that I never really play, but there's just so much shit in that game. So for anyone who's actually interested in those games, they're gonna have a blast with it. But like the
air combat has never interested me.
Yeah,
or space combat.
Watching the videos online and stuff, this game looks really cool. I would like to give it a shot. And you know what? Maybe my biggest mistake was not giving it like a try with the controller, especially when they tell you like this, like they built this game with controller in mind. Like using keyboard and mouse is probably the second thing that you should do. But there are some cool aspects with the game where if you're trying to, do the dogfighting, you can just hold a button and it will lock onto that spacecraft, and then you'll instantly follow it. And so you don't have to worry about lining up your shot or like trying to fly and lose track of it. So you just hold a button, it locks onto that spaceship, and then you're flying behind it, and then eventually it can lock on for your missiles and you can shoot them and stuff. And I thought that was a really cool concept. And especially, I guess that's made for like controller support. The graphics were really cool. It's like the details that they add in like space with like debris flying everywhere, and especially when you do end up destroying a ship and you're super close to the ship and it finally explodes, the feeling of you flying right through the explosion is always so it feels good. You're just like, yeah, I finally destroyed that ship. But then you always have those ships that are behind you just constantly shooting at you. But you could do a lot of customization with the ship. So you can just add like, new, like you can add photos to it. People have built a bunch of crazy shit. Like I saw someone like a Thomas the Train type ship, which was pretty cool. Like it's not online from what I believe. I was just playing single player. I was just flying around. Another cool thing that I noticed was, so you have patrols, so you can like work with police in space, and they'll ask you to go out and do patrols around some certain areas and see if everything's good, or if there's going to be rebels there. And then also, or you can team up with the rebels and do rebel shit, so you can like take over a spaceship or shoot down other patrol police officers or whatever. And I think the more that you do that, you remember how Red Dead Redemption had the heal or or like being a good guy or a bad guy? It was like this little.
Is it your little reputation?
Yeah,
thing?
That's basically, they have that in that game. And I think what you could do is, if you're more on the rebel side and they're gonna shoot you, you can talk to them and be like, no, like I don't want to fight. And okay, cool, whatever, like you can just go by this time. But then if you are more on the police side, they'll just fucking be like, no, I'm killing your ass, like part of them, like fuck you. So there's a lot of stuff in the game that, like, a lot of detail in the game that's pretty cool. I thought that was really nice. But overall, like I said, I never really got into the game. I played maybe just a couple hours. I'm happy that I gave it a shot, but I don't really think I will go back to it, sadly.
Yeah, those games, you can appreciate them, but not always enjoy them because of how complex they get, right?
Yeah.
I always find myself thinking the same thing about any space game.
I'm happy that I tried it though.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the last game that I played was like Wing Commander, and like I said, I just never really got into those games, and I thought maybe this time being a bit older, I was like, fuck it, maybe I'll like it. Turns out, no, I don't like them at all.
Maybe you're not old enough for that, John.
Yeah, maybe I have to try it when I'm like 90.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but yeah, it's cool. I'm really happy that a lot of people are into those types of games. Yeah, and then what else? Well, before I get to my second game that I'm actually really excited to talk about, I just want to bring up another piece of news. Cliff Polinsky, the creator of Gears of War and Lawbreakers, yeah, I thought was going to be out of the video game industry after Lawbreakers, has just said that he has an idea for a new game, which I'm happy that he's not gone out of the video game industry, but he said he has a new idea for a game, but it'll be an indie type game if he chooses to work on it. So yeah, there's not a lot of information about it, but just the fact that he has announced that he is still kind of in the video game industry.
Lawbreakers tanked.
Which sucks
so
though, because
bad.
that game, Lawbreakers, was actually really fun. I really enjoyed that game. It just came out at the wrong time because it came out right near Overwatch, and Overwatch and Lawbreakers were kind of the same. And I guess obviously people are going to play Overwatch more than anything else. So.
Oh, I was trying to think of which game Lawbreakers was, but unfortunately, whenever you mentioned Overwatch with it, that's how I remember what it was. It was like the competitor to Overwatch or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah, it was sad. Like we got into the beta for it, and I actually really enjoyed it.
There's CGI like trailers for it, like made the hype. Like everyone was like, "Oh my god, this game looks sick!" And when it got to like playing the beta, a lot of people did not like it.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks like he's done with AAA games. I think he just kind of wants to focus on indie games, which is, perfectly fine as long as he stays in the video game industry and just, makes those small types of games. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
It was really sad to see him kind of go down. His new company, Boss Key Productions, just left. They were done, and it was just sad to see that Lawbreakers didn't do as well. And it's sad that you can't even play that game anymore. The servers are down and everything.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, I just hope that he makes a really good game and that everyone will support it so you could just continue on. And that would be really cool. Like if he, Lawbreakers just tanked hard. And then if he comes back and says, I'm just going to make an indie game, and that indie game actually does really, really well, that'll be great it'll be like a cool redemption story, being like, he's back, like he's going to make a game. And you never know, if that indie game does really well, maybe he will kind of be open up to do another AAA game down in the future. So
yeah, nothing wrong with indie games. Like they can often re-energize developers, right? Because it gives them a smaller goal and they can work on it on their own time. They're not pressured by stakeholders, and they can actually produce like exactly the way they want it because they have control.
Yeah.
Usually,
hopefully
anyway.
maybe it'll be a platformer.
Hopefully.
For you, Evan.
Hopefully it's a 2D pixel platformer.
Yeah, it'll be perfect for you. But the next game that I want to talk about, I've been really, really enjoying this game. It's called Iron Fury. It used to be called, what was it, Iron Maiden? But they had a
Very close.
Yeah, that's the reason why they had to change it, was because Iron Maiden was gonna sue them.
Yeah,
but yeah, this game was developed by Voidpoint and published by 3D Realms, and was released August 15th. So 2 games that came out this past week I played. This game uses the build engine, which was used on games like Duke Nukem 3D, Blood, Shadow Warrior, and hasn't been used in 19 years. So for them to just kind of, for them to just think about using this build engine for a game right now is probably the smartest thing they've done, because everyone just wants like those old school games,
The pixel nostalgia.
yeah. And like we all grew up playing Duke Nukem and blood. And so, yeah, I was excited whenever they announced that, and I saw that they were using the engine. I was excited to see because they added, obviously they're using the old engine, and it has, you know, the same type of graphics and everything, but they also updated it. So they added, you know, for games now, they've added way bigger levels and cool, like the levels look really like cyberpunk looking, and it looks really, really nice, especially just in that build engine. The game is just pure like old school action, just like how you would play Doom 2, Wolfenstein. They have a lot of Easter eggs in the game, like right at the beginning, the main screen. It is a resemblance of Wolfenstein 3D. So in Wolfenstein 3D, you had Cliff, or what's his name? What's the main character?
Blazkowicz.
Yeah, you have him hiding behind a wall and a character walking down the hallway. And in the main screen, it's the girl who is hiding behind a wall and someone coming towards them. So I was like, this is fucking cool. Right away, immediately, it's just an Easter egg. But yeah, it plays exactly like any other old school game. It has, you know, those secret like the secret wall doors, and you open those up and you can collect new guns and armor. You have the armor and health, so you have to pick up health packs, you have to pick up armor. The graphics are pixelated like old school games. It's just super cool. And like the guns that are in the game, they have, you know, the shotgun and the pistol. They have a crossbow. They have grenades. Like from what I've had in the game so far. But every gun too has like a side or secondary fire. So the shotgun, you'll take out your shotgun shells and you'll add like grenade bullets. So you'll just like launch grenades at enemies, which is pretty cool. If you walk into a room and there's a bunch of enemies, you'll be like, fuck, run out, take out grenades, shoot them, they're done. The whole room is just filled with blood and shit. It's super
Nice.
cool. They have the pistol that's kind of it locks on to certain enemies, and it's kind of like the high noon special in Overwatch. So you collect them all, or like auto what do you call it, like
Auto target?
auto lock. Yeah, you auto target everyone, and then you just shoot all of them all at once. The grenades, like you can like throw them on the ground, they'll track the enemies, so you can see the grenades like going everywhere, and then once they hit the enemy, they'll explode. Or you can just light the grenade and just throw them like regular grenades. Game is really fucking fun. It's just pure action. The level creation is just really, really cool. They added a lot of details. So like the first level, you walk into like this bar, and then you end up on the streets, and it's just so cool. The one thing that I noticed is that the level difficulty in the game is a huge spike. So when you play on easy, it's way too easy. It's not even the right way to play that game. Like if you play that, I'll be disappointed. Anyone who will play this game on easy just should delete it and refund it.
Refund it, yeah. Good idea.
But don't play too much of it, because then you can't refund it.
Yeah, you'll abuse it. And then I did start playing it on hard, and then I realized that it was just it was too much for me. There was a lot of enemies, and just I didn't have enough ammo, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, maybe I'll just play on normal just so I can enjoy it. And it's challenging. Like there's times where there's a lot of enemies. There's times where you'll just breeze right by. I played a good solid 2 hours of it, or 3 hours, so I haven't really gotten too far. The story is a prequel to a game called Bombshell, I believe. And if you've never heard of Bombshell, you don't even need to worry about it. It's not that great from what I've heard. But yeah,
Bombshell again that already exists, or?
Yeah. It already exists, yeah. But yeah, I definitely recommend just giving this game a shot. It's so good. If you've played like the old Doom games or Quake or whatever, just play it. It's super fun. It doesn't have any multiplayer. It's all single player, I believe. And there's just a lot to it. And the nice thing about it too is when you're about to finish a level, it will tell you right before you leave, by the way, you still have 10 secrets left in this level. So you can either go back and try to find them, or you can just be like, fuck it, I'll just go to the next level. And going into the next level, there's no loading screen. So basically you'll just go right to the next level, and it will either just do a really quick load, and you don't even realize that it's loading, and then you're just level, which is really cool. But yeah, I can't say enough that you guys should try Ion Fury.
See, I definitely will be trying that game. I'm a big fan of taking old engines and repolishing them and seeing what they can do these days.
Yeah. I'm also excited to see people do mods for it, because it's using the old build engine, and so many people have already done that with Duke Nukem and stuff.
Well, it's like Doom too. There's the Brutal Doom, right? That's someone constantly iterating on the same old.
Yeah, I'd be super excited to see what he could do. Ion Fury. That'd be really cool.
Have you seen what people are doing with Fortnite? You can now play a full Zelda game, puzzles, dungeons, everything in Fortnite.
What?
In the creative space.
Fuck.
How the hell? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
People are nuts. You can play. One guy's played Dark Souls with a DDR mat. Like these gamers are like next level.
I have one more game that I wanted to just talk. It's actually a mod, but someone recreated the first episode of Duke Nukem 3D using the Serious Sam Fusion game. So I gave that game a shot. I was just like, yeah, Duke Nukem 3D. Like, I'm already playing Iron Fury. Like, I just want to try it. The shit they did with that, they used the assets from Duke Nukem Forever, and then they also are using some of the enemies from Serious Sam, and everything that they did for the recreation of the levels is spot on. I was playing it for a good solid day or so, and it's really cool how they did that. And I'm just waiting for the people who created Duke Nukem, well, who own the IP of Duke Nukem, to just finally take it down.
Yeah.
What's that company? Gearbox. So I'm waiting for that, but yeah, from what I played of that mod, it was really, really fun. They have like the old assets too, like the voiceovers from Duke Nukem 3D into the game, and it was just really fun. It brought back a lot of memories. And then when I played Iron Fury, I was just like, man, what the fuck? This game is sick. Like, playing all these old school games right now, and it's so fun.
There's I think that's one of the reasons I'm into platformers so much right now, is because it captures the old school gaming style. Yeah, there's just so much action and so in your face.
If you haven't played the originals, it's good to play them too. Like, play the original Doom,
of course.
Play the original Shadow Warrior. Like, you'll see how hard games were back then.
But even then too, like, if you want to play the original Doom, you could, play it, but you can also use the brutal Doom mod, which makes the game
makes
even
it gorier.
better.
Yeah.
Uses the mouse,
better
mouse and
soundtrack,
keyboard, and yeah. Oh yeah, talking about soundtrack, I just want to bring up Rebel Galaxy Outlaw has their own radio stations, and each station is that was one of the cool things I noticed. Like, you could change the stations. They had metal, they had like classic, all that stuff, punk, everything. And one cool thing that they allowed you to do was you can add your own music into the game onto the radio. So I thought that was really cool, that if you want to put your own metal albums in there, you can do it and just listen to it while you're in space. I forgot to mention that, but I love when games do that. I know GTA 4 did that, where you can add your own music, and I don't know if GTA 5 did it. I have it for PC, but I haven't touched it. So yeah, those are the 3 games that I played. I definitely recommend Ion Fury.
I definitely be checking that out.
Yeah.
There's one news though that I want you to talk about, because I haven't heard news about it, is the new Need for Speed Heat game that got announced.
Yeah, actually, right before we did the podcast, I was just looking up a bunch of stuff, and I noticed that they announced the new Need for Speed Heat game.
The one California, like, Hollywood scene I'm looking at right now with the car event, like, it looks so crisp, like the visuals.
Maybe it's a new engine or something.
Yeah, like, they haven't. Well, they're probably using the Frostbite, because EA is like so hard on that, where any game they make, they have to use the frostbite. But there's not a lot to look up on, but I was watching the trailer for it and it looks really cool. It actually reminds me a lot of Need for Speed Underground. And Christina, I know your brother was really into Need for Speed Underground.
I love that game
and you
too.
were into it, yeah. You could tell that they're probably taking a lot of thought process from that game. You can customize your cars in the garage. So in the trailer, it showed you like going to a garage and then coming out with that same car with a bunch of new mods and stuff.
Yeah, but they advertised that with the other Need for Speed game that came out, and it did awful.
Yeah. The one thing they wanted to let everyone know, this game is going to be completely different from the Need for Speed Payback game that came out I think 2 years ago. I guess that game got a lot of flack due to the microtransactions. So everything that you were going to buy in a garage was all microtransaction based, or you would just have to spin a wheel and whatever you unlocked is that's what you would receive. You wouldn't actually be able to pick the certain thing that you wanted. So I think their main goal for this Need for Speed game is to kind of take out all those microtransactions and just make a real Need for Speed game. I think the last Need for Speed game that I played was Need for Speed Most Wanted that came out a couple years ago on PS3 and Xbox 360
and Vita.
And that game was, it came out on Vita. I forgot about that. Yeah, that game was great. I remember playing that with Matt when it first came out. And we had a blast with it. I'm excited to see what they would do with this Need for Speed Heat. We'll probably hear more about it coming months, or maybe even at Gamescom. Maybe, I'm not too sure.
Lastly, we gotta mention some music stuff because there's been a couple things. I have one thing to mention because I love Dallas Green. City in Color new album, October 4th. Already has his pre-orders up. But,
I have tickets to one of the shows in
nice.
November.
I didn't want to. He's playing a huge venue in Toronto. I don't like that. I like I want to be able to like actually feel the atmosphere, not just be.
Want to touch his hand?
In a huge venue. Yeah, I do want to touch his hand. But his Stranger Songs is my favorite song from him.
It's pretty sick. I like it.
It's on that album. Yeah. The new single he released when he announced the album release date is all right. It's okay. But
there's another album that came out this Friday. It's the new Killswitch Engage album, Atonement, I believe.
Atonement, yeah.
Yeah, and I listened to it all the way through, and it's pretty good. It's really heavy. It's really, really heavy. Yeah,
there's a lot of energy in it.
Yeah, it's completely different, I find, from the regular stuff that they do. But I'm excited to hear more of it. I'm gonna definitely listen to it more, and
Howard Jones comes back for one of the songs. That's the first thing I checked out.
Yeah, but I don't remember actually. I remember hearing it.
He did a screaming part, and he was also doing background singing vocals during the chorus.
Yeah.
Another one I'm excited for is the Refused album.
Oh yeah.
We listened to the single Blood Red quite a bit, and then their previous albums, and I'm super hyped for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for the new Samurai album too.
They impress me how good they are. I mean, there's some albums that I wouldn't personally want to listen to, but when they do get something right, it's good. Like the Shape of Color, I forget what it's called.
The Shape of Punk to Come.
Yeah, that was a great album. Yeah, I mean, Blood Red sounds good, so I hope the new album's good.
Well, they're going to be in Cyberpunk 2077, so they're going to be amazing now.
Yeah, they are the band Samurai in Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. I still can't believe that's actually happening.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. But I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say?
No, we had a great week. News? Lots of gaming, lots of announcements of super hype games to come.
Yeah.
And next week, just be John and Evan.
Yeah, just the two of us.
We're gonna have to fill up 1.5 times the space, John.
Yeah, I'm like the star of the show, so
Tina just brings all the thunder.
It's fine. I'm about to finish Evil Within 2.
And I'm going to be finishing that. I'll be bringing in at least one new game next week that I know of right now. So
yeah.
There you go, folks. It's going to be an exciting episode next week, and stay tuned. Our episode comes out every Monday. Please like and subscribe and support us because we're a great group of people that love to talk about video games.
Please
support us. Okay, dudes, we will see you next week on the +3 podcast.
Bye.